that eventually we are getting to a point where we are going to be just maybe limitless. Is that possible? Well, hopefully this forum will help us to discuss that, right? So on this note, although I've welcomed you, I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of our president of Academic City University College, Professor Fred. And this forum is being organized under the auspices of the Faculty of Computational Sciences. Therefore, it's appropriate that I invite the Dean of the faculty, in the person of Professor Olumide Longe, is my boss, to give us the introduction and welcome us.
Thank you very much, Uncle Julius, as I normally refer to you. You don't have an uncle that is called Julius, so that it makes it very easy for me to just flow and say Uncle Julius. Once again, we want to welcome all of you. The President and Provost, Academic City University College, Accra, Ghana, Professor Fred Magbangoluri, Deans and Heads of Departments here present, the Vice President, Strategic, Institutional Strategy, Dr. Lucy, our guest speaker, our own dear sister, who has gone and be with us again. Ladies and gentlemen, students, members of the press, members of the Academic City community, we want to welcome you especially to this program. Also, we welcome the audiences who are joining us virtually. We're in a virtual world, and so programs of this nature can easily be interfaced from different parts of the world. And I'm so excited that I remember sometimes last year, the president made a statement. I went to him and we had some very short discussion. And he said, take leadership in that space. And that's exactly what we are doing. Academic City University College is taking leadership in the AI space. Last week we had a collaborative program at AI Deck somewhere in town. We're also passionate about artificial intelligence. In that program, we were discussing about ethics. The way AI is going, ethics is becoming a very serious issue. Today, I won't take too much of your time because we want to listen to the juicy package that the presenter has for us. But let me also say that advancements in technology is propelled by what I refer to as technological determinism. Technology determinism has to do with the fact that society, institutions, social structures, and so many other things around us, even our psychology, our ways of life, our disposition and everything is fueled by technological advancements. I just returned from a trip to the US, and in my bedroom there's Alexa. I'm sure a number of you know who Alexa is. And within a day or two, he has learned my itinerary, learned my name. When I speak, he can greet me by itself. It's an AI, is a robot, like a speaker. And my children, they began to fall in love with Alexa. They were amused by how much Alexa could do. And because of that, I get sleepless nights. They would just walk up into the room and say, Alexa, what will be the temperature this evening? And he would tell them. I remember one of them asking Alexa, what is my grandfather's name? Interestingly, Alexa mentioned my own father's name. He went online, did a search, and came up with my father's name. And my kids were so surprised. So we're in a world where artificial intelligence is shaping a lot of things. But at the same time, there are challenges. In every generation where technology has advanced, it comes with challenges. If we think about the challenges alone, we're not going to push. But we must continue pushing, knowing at the back of our mind that there will be challenges. When the automobile was developed, it enabled people to travel faster and farther. But at the same time, it came with challenges. A lot of people, some people lost their life due to automobile accidents, and planes were developed, planes are still flying, noted as the safest and fastest means of transportation. But when there are plane crashes, it's also very fatal. And just this week, today is Tuesday, right? On Sunday, I was reviewing a PhD thesis. And this guy was working on sex robots. This is serious. We're living through very dangerous times. They're building sex robots that doesn't have, feelings and emotions, and people are subscribing to it, and this guy is analyzing it, how you operate within the boundaries and things like that. And then we have the problem with the chat GPT. That one can write an entire thesis for you. And so the issues of ethics, the issues of moralities, they are also coming up as artificial intelligence continue to evolve. I'll close. Some years back, when I was at MIT, I picked a book in the library, and the title of that book was, "Can Intelligence Be Artificial?" I'll leave that answer to the presenter. Thank you very much, and welcome once again.
Thank you, Professor Olumide, for that welcome. Also, I would like to call on stage the Vice President for Institutional Advancement of AcademicCity University College, in the person of Dr. Lucy Ajepon, to tell us the purpose of gathering. Although we know we know why we are here, we still ask her to come and do that.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. And once again, welcome to AcademicCity. Welcome to our seminar, the intersection of AI and human intelligence, opportunities and challenges. And I will stand on existing protocols. So as Julio said, we all know why we are here, right? We are here to talk about or have a deliberation around artificial intelligence and human intelligence. And it's quite interesting. This particular week, I had an opportunity to do a one-on-one interview on the radio, and they were asking, what is AI? What is AI going to do? And it's quite interesting that AI has been there since the 80s, right? It's just that in recent years, the capabilities and the advancements have catapulted and shaken everything up, right? So it's always quite interesting, and I was just telling the president that in my last 2 speeches, just to prove the point, I sent it to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT, write a speech on this and this for me. My husband said, one day people will know. And I'm saying, but then the human element is in the delivery and how I tweak it and how I make it personal, which is very much in line and in keeping with the intersection of artificial intelligence and human intelligence. And having all the panelists here, we want to say a massive thank you for all joining us, honoring our invitation. I know we have practitioners here. I know we have people from academia. I know we have people who are already doing it. To be able to walk us through what the true opportunities are and what some of the challenges are. I'm happy to see Debbie. Debbie has flown all the way to be here with us today, and we miss her dearly. Debbie used to be one of our lecturers here at AcademicCity, our main AI girl, so I'm glad that I get to see her again. But I'm quite curious to hear what the panelists have to say regarding this particular topic. There's no two ways about it that we have now a new area, a new, what we can do is what? I can't even have a word for it. It's limitless because of the capabilities of artificial intelligence. But as Prof also said, we know that there are some real challenges. One of the things that everybody's talking about is what AI is going to do to jobs. But I'm here to reassure you. Yeah, it's not that the jobs won't be there. They're just going to be there in a different format. It's just a different way. As humans, we have evolved over the years, and we're still here. When we first came up with the first technology, when we moved to stones, bronze, metal, oh my God, their jobs are going to end. Some jobs ended, but new jobs came up. So I'm quite excited to hear more about the opportunities, what we can do, what we can use artificial intelligence to do, and I'm quite curious to hear what the panelists have to say, and how do we, you and I, still remain competitive in this world of artificial intelligence. So on that note, I want to say welcome once again, and thank you, panelists. And Julius, I guess welcome to AcademicCity.
Thank you, Dr. Lucy. It's at this moment that we are about to start our forum. And actually, to moderate the forum, you've heard her name already, but I'm still going to tell you a little about her. So our moderator for our forum is I'll mention her name at the end, okay? So she's the co-organizer of the Women in Machine Learning and Data Science Accra, Ghana chapter, and the co-founder of WPSYG. The exciting thing is that she's currently enrolled in her PhD studies at Universität der Saarland in Germany. And she's working in the area of developing machine learning algorithms, and her research interests are in machine learning fairness, causality, explainability, and AI ethics. So I guess she's the right person to moderate this program, right? Prior to that, she's worked as an NLP engineer at Proto and also lectured at ACity University College, and we are proud of that. She's a recipient of several grants and scholarships, including the MasterCard Foundation Scholar Grant, Alumni Project Grant, and many more. Interestingly, she's voted among the 100 most influential people in the STEM category in 2019. And she's also listed among the 80 African women advancing AI in Africa and the world. On that note, with a resounding clap, shall we welcome Deborah D. Kanubala. And this is where I hand over.
Thanks so much, Julius, for the introduction. Sometimes when I hear my own biography, I pause and ask myself, is that really me or someone else? Anyway, so good morning to you all, and good morning to Professor Fred Bagwanluri, Dr. Lucy, and everyone else. It's really a great pleasure to be home again. I say Academic City is my home, and they gave me a good starting point in my academic journey, and I'm really happy to be back home again, and more excited to be talking on a very important topic today. I think generally we've all heard about how AI is evolving each and every day. I think day in, day out, we hear about new AI products. Probably most of us have even lost track of some of them because they are just numerous, you just can't count. And that tells us that we need to begin to also think about what the implications are, not just the opportunities, but what are the challenges? What does it mean to the humans, and what can we do to prevent any other thing that this particular technology is going to present to us? So today, to do me the honors, we have really great experts in different fields. And so they would give us different perspectives from different areas. We have entrepreneurs, we have IoT specialists, we have lecturers. So at least we would hear different perspectives. And I always say that for us to be able to develop good ML models, it's really good that you always put everyone's context in, because at the end of it, you are looking at one thing, but understanding it from different perspectives. So I'm going to introduce our speakers, and in no particular order. So I'll just read their bio and then call them one after the other upstage. So to start with, I have with me, he's the founder and CEO of Marketplace, a STEM.org certified master trainer in Ghana, and has a broad understanding of electronic sustainable energy, robotics, and programming. He holds a Master of Science in Energy and Sustainable Management and a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. His research areas include energy efficiency, IoT, IoMT, and robotics. He works closely with children, young adults, and teachers to inspire a love of computing and technology. He has exceptional communication and interpersonal skills, mentoring abilities, and organizational skills that are driving the success at the Marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Douglas T. Ayite. Nice to have you. You can sit down. Secondly, I have with me a data scientist with a strong interest in artificial intelligence. He received his bachelor's degree in computer science from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and has honed his skills through practical experience in various industries, such as agriculture, education, marketing, and technology. He is proficient in programming languages like Python and MySQL, and has expertise in data manipulation, data cleaning, and data visualization tools, Power BI and Excel specifically. With his strong analytical acumen, dedication to accuracy, and commitment to data-driven decision-making, he has made significant impact in the field of data analysis and building machine learning models. He continues to contribute to the success of organizations he works with. He's currently a data science instructor at Blossom Academy, helping train participants and young professionals in the ways of the data science industries. Upstage with me, we have Precious Dankwa. For our third speaker, she is an AI product manager specialist with experience working with data and AI-driven organizations. As a former tech founder, she co-founded the Base Technologies Limited in 2018 and has played a pivotal role in leading the product development of the Base API, a cutting-edge facial recognition API powered by AI technologies for remote identity verification. She's currently working as an expert AI consultant on the AU AI Continental Strategy for the African Union High-Level Panel on Emerging Technologies and as a product consultant for businesses. She has also co-authored, such as the AI book by Wi-Fi and FinTech Circle 2020 and the Rising to the Top Volume 4 by IFEES and GEDC. Her work has earned her numerous prestigious awards, including the African Prize of Engineering from the Royal Academy of Engineering and the Disruptive Technologies Excellence Award from CISO. In addition, she has been recognized as a Global AI Ambassador 2023 by Swiss Cognitive and featured in the list of 80 African women driving AI forward in Africa and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Ms. Charlotte Ingerson. Second but not the least, last but not the least, sorry, I have with me a highly skilled IT professional with over 15 years of experience in higher education, IT management, software development, security, and data science. Holding a Master of Philosophy degree in computer science from the University of Ghana, he's pursuing his PhD while serving as an assistant lecturer at the same institution. As an IBM certified master in big data, data science, artificial intelligence, and application security, he has generously shared his expertise with numerous organizations and institutions throughout Ghana and the sub-region, representing IBM and Oracle Academy. With a passion for impacting knowledge, he is committed to empowering future minds through practical instruction. For over a half a decade, he has demonstrated a keen interest in AI and related disciplines, coaching students' teams to win AI contests and conducting research in the field. He teaches his students to develop models for social media mining using natural language processing, among other techniques. A well-rounded computer science expert who prefers AI, he actively participates in industry events, mentors future IT professionals, and advocates for diversity in tech. In his free time, he enjoys exploring new technologies, particularly AI. Help me welcome Mr. Mark Atta Mensah. And finally, we have an IoT evangelist, a remarkable and inspiring individual with a passion for technology and its ability to transform the world. He is the president of the Ghana STEM Network, co-founder and president of the IoT Network Hub, a mentor for GSTEP, DHAC, ERTAD, among other STEM-related programs in Ghana. He is a driven and visionary leader who has earned numerous accolades for his contributions to the STEM field, including recognition by the African Entrepreneurship Award and features in Forbes magazine and United Nations Development Program's AI for Deaf magazine, among others. He is dedicated to using his knowledge and skills to create a better world, and he believes that technology can be a powerful force for good in transforming Africa. His enthusiasm for solving problems with technology is infectious, and he inspires others to pursue their passions and make a positive impact on their communities. He is a respected and influential figure in the STEM community in Ghana and beyond, and his dedication to creating a brighter future for all is a testament to his character and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, our final speaker, Mr. Joshua Opoku Ajimai. Okay, so welcome once again to all our amazing speakers. So, like I mentioned earlier, all of these speakers have diverse expertise and are skilled in their respective domains. So today's discussion, we are just going to dissect how AI can intersect with human capabilities. We all have accepted that, yes, AI is just taking over the world. But as we begin to explore how it's taking over the world, it's important we also look at how does it intersect with us, because we want it to serve us, right? So it's important that we hold discussions like this so that we can better understand how the tool can help us. So my first question is that all of these technologies, ChatGPT, Palm, and all of that, these are tools that are developed by the Western world, right? And most of these things are built with data set that probably comes from all of us here. It's just not the Westerners, right? But at the end, they build this technology, and they build it in a way that it actually serves them more. So the question is that, what is really the current state of AI development in Africa and in Ghana in particular? So let me see I should give it first. Or one of you can just go on first. If you want to take it first, yes. Just share your thoughts with me.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here this morning, and it's important that we discuss about AI and artificial intelligence or human intelligence. Now, if you look at these emerging technologies, as she mentioned, it's new, but then we are more at the recipient state, right? We always want to receive. In as much as the technology is coming, it's not coming from us, but we are the end users, right? So we drive the technology by making sure that we give out our data more often than we benefit from that. Now, there is a great potential for us, even though we did not develop the technology, we can utilize it, okay, to affect change in our community as a whole, right? But then the challenges that comes with it is that we lack the infrastructure as a country or as a continent. There is limited access to infrastructure financing because it's more expensive to do that, and then lack of training, right, which is also very, very key to be able to come out with our own versions or even make it better to solve societal problems. We need to be able to be in a position to have people trained to go beyond that. I tell people that it doesn't mean that we cannot develop our own AI tools or any of the emerging technologies. The only challenge is that we are not well exposed. When people are not well exposed, they cannot create anything. I go to a class and you talk to people, and at the end of the day, you see that they have the desire to learn, but they have the lack of exposure. But then the moment you expose them a little, they can go beyond that, and then the kind of things they create even amaze you, because you didn't even teach them that, but they are able to go beyond that. So for us, I think not diverting too much and staying within context means that we are the right, it is right for us, but then all we need to do is to have the needed infrastructure and then the finance, and also be able to train more people within that space.
Okay, thanks very much. So, I mean, per your submission, are we saying that we are really not anywhere close due to the lack of infrastructure, money, and everything with regards to the state of AI?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that we are beginners, right? We are beginners, we have emerging, we have exceeding and all of that. But as Africans and Ghanaians, we are at the emerging state, because there are other individuals within the space, within the ecosystem, who have also developed AI, like Kwame and all of that, right? Kwame AI and things. That means we are also developing. But then when you look at the mass, when you look at the bigger number as against the few individuals developing the technology, then we can rate Africa as a beginner, or as a beginner state continent.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much. Charlotte, you are an AI consultant and entrepreneur, and I know your company actually developed a facial recognition app, I think. So what is your take on this? Do you think that we are beginners, or you think that we are actually progressing and we are somewhere? What do you think about it?
So, good morning, and thank you for having me. That's a great question. So, I think that it's actually wrong then to start comparing ourselves to the big players, because if you start doing that, you say Africa vs US, it doesn't make sense. US still like a country, right? So, I think that in terms of the stage of AI in Africa, I say that since ChatGPT is kind of getting a bit easy for people to understand what is AI. So it's quite sad. We have to wait for ChatGPT to come here and to feel that, okay, we know what is AI. We are so we have interest about AI, right? But it's the case. And I think that right now, a lot of people get interested about the use of AI. And talking about my experience, because us, for example, we started since 2018. It was very hard for us when we went. I remember when I even go to talk to businesses about what we are doing, they were like, okay, it looks interesting. Then no, they don't understand. So it was a lot of work for businesses, because you have to educate your people, you have to educate your market, right? So, but in terms of, in general aspect, where we are not, let's say, we are not at the same stage that the big players, but a lot of improvement is going, there's a lot of work. And if you check around, you will see that people are investing in AI startup. There's a lot of companies that are trying to find a way to apply AI in their daily work. So it's something that is relevant, right? Even in terms of, let's say, in terms of capacity, right now, I don't know, but I believe that in this school even it's possible to study AI. It wasn't possible before, right? People was just focused maybe on what we know, the traditional curriculum. But now a lot of universities, they start to bring like that concept about like data science, about different curriculum, and it's a way to start. So we are somewhere, you are not nowhere. We know where we are going, you know where we are aware of our challenges, and that's very important to be aware of our challenges. And if you know your challenges, you can easily address that, right? So right now we know what is AI, we know where we are, we know how we can use. And at a point, even some people used to say that Africa, we are like the big consumer of those products, right? To be honest, when let's say the Western, they build the product, we are not the first target, because we don't pay for that, right? We are, let's say, we are consumer in terms of, or maybe we are a potential in terms of social media product, this kind of product where we need a lot of volume, because we use, but we don't understand how they're getting money, for example. But in terms of maybe building like a AI product for healthcare, I don't know how many hospitals in Ghana are paying for that kind of software. So we are not the target. So of course, we talk maybe later about biases and everything, but for now, just know that there's a lot of opportunity in the African market. What I like to say to people is just like, if you see the development of technology in general, is the same, right? At the beginning, we were all scared about what was going on. We didn't know how to use technology in general in the African market. But today, see all of you guys, you are really comfortable with smartphone, you are comfortable with internet. There's a lot of things that improve. So I believe that that's how AI is going to in terms of in the African market. And in the next 20, 30 years, maybe we have like a lot of things to show, I hope.
Okay, all right, so that makes sense. We are taking baby steps. We are not exactly there, but we should give it time and we'll surely get there. Now, I want to come down a bit to the research aspect of it. And we have a lecturer here who is also a researcher. So what is your take on this? What do you think about this?
Well, my response to your initial question, the current state of AI in the country, there is a growing research ecosystem in this field. And of course, one of the things I need to applaud AcademicCity for is the fact that I don't know any institution in Ghana that is running a BSc Artificial Intelligence except this institution. Students in this program should count themselves fortunate. A lot of efforts are being made currently, and we need to acknowledge that. We have AIMS and other institutions. We are doing our bit. We are doing our bit in our own small corner. Okay. As I declared in my biography, yesterday, a student is taking an exam from me. My courses are practical, purely practical. So I've given her Twitter API keys. She's supposed to extract some data, pre-process, go through all that process and use topic modeling. That is the key thing. I just want to build her, see her skill set as much as she has amassed from my class. And so there is a growing effort in this direction, and institutions are taking great steps at this point, and I'm speaking of Africa here. Now, we can also talk about partnerships that are currently ongoing with institutions like Google. You made mention of IBM and the likes. Okay, so they did not come to me as an individual. They came to the institution, and some of us found ourselves working with them. I'm currently working on a project with Google, and we are trying to leverage AI to make information about climate change accessible by everyone. And it's just one of the various projects. They have partnered a couple of my colleagues, and we are embarking on these things, trying to improve their AI in speech data and several others I can make mention of. And so these partnerships are currently ongoing. They found a need to make these things happen. And so we are not that worse off. That is currently happening. And of course, thumbs up to these startups we have around who are giving our young folks the opportunity to put their skills to the test, the CEOs we have around us and the many others whose name we cannot mention. But then again, we still have to make strides to advance this area. And like you said, we do have challenges. And so we need to expose our students much more better, because I believe that once they get exposed, their thinking capability is somewhere else. Once they get to see that this is possible, my students keep on, they surprise me every day. Never did I think I would have students landing internships with the likes of Google, Goldman Sachs, and then Facebook Meta right from Ghana. They had never even traveled before, now traveling for conferences. We stir them up. Just this exposure is stirring them up in a different way like never before. So yes, we do have challenges, and we may have to still put measures in place, strengthening the education, and then mitigating some of the constraints that we have in our space. And I'm sure we'll get there. We are not totally out of the field. We are still making great strides. Yes.
Okay, thanks for your submission. So I hope the lecturers here, we should work to expose our students more. But I guess the students say you're already exposed. Is that not true? Is that true or not? Yeah. Anyway, so thanks very much for your submission. So I want to come to you, Joshua. You are an IoT and you do a lot of very practical projects and all of that. What are the specific opportunities that you think AI offer to the economy here in Ghana and Africa as a whole, of course? And do you think that it has some implications to the future job market? And if there are, what specific things are they, and how should we look at it from which angle? Because I know you do a lot of these practical stuff. So what do you think about this?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. On the previous question too, I wanted to contribute to the fact that we have the Ghana Digital Economy Policy by the Ministry of Communication, which we have a national policy on AI as well. The Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation is also working on the STI policy, which also focuses a lot on emerging technologies. So from the government level too, they are also putting the necessary regulation and infrastructure in place to ensure that we can develop with the AI technologies. When it comes to the opportunities and challenges, I like to refer to the World Economic Forum. They have a report called The Future of Work. And it says by 2025, we are going to have 96 million job loss globally. And the same forces, that's the AI automation technologies, are going to create 86 million new jobs. And these jobs require skills we probably don't have. Right? Now, I think the challenges that comes with AI, especially for our part of the world, is the skills gap. Right? Today, if you have a data science skills, you can work remotely for every company in the world. You can be in Ghana and work for companies overseas. We have a lot of people in our network who are doing that. So the challenge I foresee is the skill gap. How can we be able to integrate the AI training programs into our curriculums? Just like you're doing here, I think every university in Ghana should be doing that. Right. We also have private individuals and organizations that are doing a lot of capacity building in the field. I think these are all as a result of the highly demand for skills. And these skills are mostly in AI, data science, IoT, robotics, because that's where the future is going. We should also know that we're in a paradigm shift. We are in what we call the fourth industrial revolution. Just like we move into the technology, internet, computer revolution, where all the blue-collar jobs faded away, and then we had a white-collar job. We're also in the same transition where a lot of jobs are going to be automated, hence they need to prepare for the revolution coming. Now, the top 10 skills that the report also recommend or expect that every candidate should have is critical thinking skills, creativity skills, problem solving, ability to work with people, continuous learning, and they have the top 10 skills. You can check out the report. That is highly demand. Opportunities that we can explore. I think if we can build the human capacity, I believe in the human capacity because if you want to build a nation, you have to build your people. Your people will build a nation. If you're able to build rich human capacity in this field, then we can have companies or startups from the healthcare, agriculture, transportation, fintech, all coming up. So I think there's a lot of opportunities in there for young people in this space, especially those who want to go into entrepreneurship. In the area of healthcare, we have some startup like Mino Health. It's also in the ecosystem who is building imaging system for diagnostics. And there's so much opportunities in the healthcare space. In agriculture too, what if we can have a ChatGPT for farmers, only for agriculture? It can predict grain pattern, what to grow, when to grow, how to grow, and all that. So these are some of the critical information that farmers need in their decision making. And if we're able to build more innovation in this space, I think it's a good long way to help us.
Okay, thanks for your submission. You know, based on what you actually said, the thing that just came to mind again is that we also have to sort of be mindful of the number of literates and illiterates we also have in our part of the world, because at the end of it, these technologies we build sometimes are useful for people who can be able to read and write most of the time. And so it's always difficult to just come up with a technology that would just target people who can read and write, or some don't even have smartphones, and some of these things are mostly smartphones based. But again, on the whole digital gap thing, the skills gap thing, Academic City, we've already iterated the fact that we are one of the leading institutions here in Ghana that has started an AI program, which I would say it's really a good step in the right direction. And we have the Blossom Academy data science trainer here, and I think you would be the right person to share with us how you think that institutions like Academic City and of course your own academy can position yourself such in a way that you can continue to help train the younger generation like most of our students here. How do you position yourselves to ensure that you are able to provide the requisite skills that is needed to fill in the skills gap that we all know that this also exists? What do you say about that?
Sure. Okay. So, thank you for having me, and I extend greetings from Blossom Academy. Yeah. So, I'm really happy for hearing that Academic City is one of the schools or one of the universities bringing up AI. I think it's master's degree, right?
It's a bachelor's degree.
Bachelor's degree. Wow. Okay, so it's actually going to have the foundation and masters, right? I'm sure it's going to have masters.
Hopefully in the future, yes.
Yeah, and it's actually great because I studied computer science, okay? And even just studying computer science, and I've been able to learn a lot in AI. Trust me, if you are going to start with AI itself, you are going to learn a lot. And I think it all starts with risk, okay? One good friend told me that I think Americans or the Western world, they invest so much that they risk a lot, but we here, we don't. But you should be so happy and you should be so fortunate that your institution is actually risking this, okay? So you should put in much effort, you should sacrifice, okay, to learn this, because it's going to go a way long to help you yourself, all right? And teaching data science and teaching data analytics, I think it's something that we can all cope with, all right? Don't think it's something big. When you hear words like data interpolation, data analytics, data, you hear crunching, see, it's all words, trust me, all right? When you come into the real game, you get to understand that everything is easy. I'm an instructor, so I know what I'm telling you, all right? Everything, it's easy, it's just programming. And trust me, if you are in any course, if you are learning any program, try and learn something new. I mean, try and learn one programming language. It's going to help you. And the easiest you can get is Python. And most of the time, Python is used for our data science project. You understand? So it's actually a good way and a good start for us to start building ourselves in that direction, right? Because it's going to help us a long way to be able to achieve our dreams in this AI system that we put ourselves. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your submission. So, learn a programming language. I know the computer science students here, at least you do Python. I know about that. So, if you are learning your Python, learn it well so that you can at least prepare for the jobs. So if you have questions as well, just note them down. I would come back to the audience and take questions that you have. As students, you probably will be thinking about what are the necessary skills that you should actually gain whilst you're in school so that you can at least be more beneficial to the job market. So just put down any questions you may have for our speakers, and I'll come down to that. So we've spoken a lot about the current state and opportunities and challenges. Opportunities, but there's some other aspect that most of the time we are a bit touchy to really talk about, which is on the fairness, ethical point of view of ML models. We understand that these models are always built on data. So they say garbage in, garbage out. So depending on how good your data is, then you'd be able to get very useful models. And most of this data, we all agree that is generated by us. Some of you generate data, but you don't even notice you're generating data. And we human beings in our own natural way are biased. That's the truth. And given that we are biased, if we use data that has been generated by us, it directly means that we somewhat are generating biased data, right? And then we now build systems using this data, which means that at the end of it, we are only going to be building systems that are not doing or eradicating the existing bias, but only perpetuating the existing bias in the society. So I would say it again, I love the whole combination of team of experts we have here. And when it comes to bias, you need to look at it from different angles. So I want to pick each of you, your thoughts on it based on your own field. So from Joshua, the IoT experts and all of that, look at it from the angle, how can we mitigate existing bias in our society? We as Ghanaian people, we need to start talking about it. We don't have to build the next Ghanaian chat GTP before we think about it. What do you say about this?
I think when it comes to our part of the world, we need to be very inclusive and diversity. I would like to look at it from that angle because if all the AIs built in Ghana are built by men, there's going to be a bias towards men, right? So we need to have that diversity where we have more females also involved in the building of AI. And then when you're looking at inclusion, we can look at language barriers. If all the people building are maybe from a different particular demography, because I don't think we have AI development going on in the northern part of Ghana, but most of them are happening in Accra. So that means they're not going to look at the context of that environment too as well when developing such technologies. So I like to look at it from the diversity inclusion side of it.
Okay, thanks. Diversity is important. Gender, ethnic groups, everything. Yes, Charlotte.
Yes, so I do agree with Joshua in the sense that in terms of talking about bias, there's two angles in terms of who are building this product, all right? So we need to make sure that people who are building the product understand that the factors of diversity is mean you need to have, I mean, when I say diversity, you need to have women, young people, I can say young people, but I won't say youth, kind of, to say that sometimes people complain why we have a lot of old people doing stuff. So it means that you need to make sure that in your team, there is different perspective. Background diversity is also very important. When you need to work off AI solution, it's not about sort of having only software or data scientists, right? It's very important to have an industry expert. What I mean by that, if maybe you are, let's say you're a AI engineer, you want to build a product for FK, you don't know anything about FK, right? Or do you know? You don't know, so you need to work with expert industry, you can work with doctors. So make sure that whatever you are building, you involve the right people in that product. Then the other aspect is more in terms of the data set, which kind of data we are using. You know that your target is maybe, let's say, the African market, but the African market is diverse, right? Me, I'm originally from Ivory Coast, right? I speak French, but I'm part of Africa. So if you're a Ghanaian, so you are building a product for African market and you don't involve people like not speaking maybe Twi or maybe you don't speak English, it means you are already having some bias in your process, right? You need to make sure that whatever you are building is involved with the right target. If now you say that, okay, me as an AI engineer, I'm working on a product where I'm targeting only Ghanaians, it makes sense if you don't engage about like the language barrier, right? You will just focus on maybe making sure that your product is involve people living in the north region and Tamale, you know, people who are not maybe close to that Accra aspect. It's not just Accra. Ghana is big. So it's very important to consider that aspect. Also, one of the issues we have in terms of biases, it was in terms of facial recognition. Because if you follow, I'm sure that you guys study AI, so you have some kind of idea. So facial recognition was one of its technology with a lot of biases. Even big organization, we won't say any name here, but big organization, they built AI facial recognition product with a lot of biases where it was hard for the machine to be able to identify dark-skinned people. And us as African, like, you know, you just claim like, oh, that's against us. You're not in Africa, you're not only dark, there is fair people, there is white people in Africa, right? It's not just dark skin. So it's not about us especially, but even in US, there is dark people. So the problem was about the dark skin, and it's the same aspect. People are building products based on the data set they have, and if maybe you expect that a French person, I mean someone in France, a white person build a product, he'll just go to around him which kind of product he has. When us we are building our facial recognition system, you know that the target was the African market, right? Of course, it was very hard for us because even when we were talking about that, oh, you use facial recognition to fight identity fraud, to perform EKYC, people like, you're young people, right? And you're in Africa, which kind of resources you have? But what we have was people around us. So we were able to figure out how to get the real data from the real world for people around us to train our model to make sure that the outcome is something that can be able to recognize dark people, but not only dark people, but any people with any kind of dark shade, let's say like that. So it's very important to consider that aspect, because at the end of the day, we are building product for making sure that people use that product, to make sure that people can also, let's say, have some benefit from those products we are building. But if you are building your product just for the fancy, in your fancy mind, you want just to blow people, I'm building that to make like, wow, like, I'm like an AI engineer, I'm doing this. Okay, build, nobody's going to use. And you I don't know what you do with that. Maybe you sit out in your house and do some demo with yourself, I don't know, but it's going nowhere. So as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as a developer, wherever you stand, it's very important to be able to be aware of that, to be conscious about the fact that you need to be intentional about building product that's responsible and that can be able to also have explainability. I think you should talk about this too. If you are building a product, make sure that people who are not technical can understand how your product works. Because there is a lot of issue right now about that. We have a lot of product that works well, but we don't understand, and we can't explain that. So, and this is also part of the challenges we face. So I don't know who is going to be the next AI expert here, but make sure that you consider this aspect when you are building your model.
Okay, thanks very much. So that's a very important aspect. Most of the time when we are building technologies, we just don't consider who are the end users of it and look at what is the representation of these end users. I think there is a sample, an example of ProPublica data sets that was used in the US for criminal to determine whether someone is going to commit a crime again or not. And at the end of it, they noticed that the US is made of dark-skinned and then white-skinned people. They noticed that it was actually indicating that black people are going to commit a crime again higher than the white people. That's probably because their data set was already skewed to the white population. So at the end of it, they built a system that was that way. But of course, that's also still another context, because when it comes to fairness too as well, people actually defended that the system was fair using some particular metrics, and then when you use another metric, you notice that it's actually not fair. But I think it's a very important point to consider the context of use and the representation of the people at stake. So yes, if you want to go next, yeah.
Okay. Hello? Yes, so at Maker's Place, we decided to build an IoT-based system where we were using an AI model to be able to control, like voice control, but it's an AI base. Now, we took the data set when you just have to say light on, light off. So those data sets already exist, right? But then I said, no, let's get local people to also collect data on people using their local dialects like Chi or Ga or Hausa or Ewe and anything, just to say light on, light off, Sungbo and Saw and Doom, like that. So we collected those data. But then for the English version, we decided to use the already existing data set. Now when we utilize the Arduino Nano 33 Blaze Sense, right, and we deploy the data set onto it, and then we decided to test. Now when you say on, because the accents are different, it does not respond to it. Even though that data set is there, it's in English, but then when you say on, it will not respond. When you say off, it will not respond. The next person will say it, it will respond, right? Because the way we say it, okay, may be different from the way those people who train the data use, right? So the first thing is to be mindful of, as the engineer, right, should be mindful of the end user who is going to use it, right? So you make sure that you consider the marginalized in your data collection. So you consider them in your data collection. And then you also make sure that those who are underrepresented, okay, that's why Joshua mentioned inclusiveness, right? So you make sure that everybody, you think about your end user. So because the people who are going to use it, let's say are Africans or are Ghanaians, how do they pronounce those words? How is it done? So if you are going to use it there, then you must make sure that you get a lot of data from that domain to be able to train your model with, so that at the end of the day, people may not feel like your product is not useful because you said I can just say on and the light will turn on. And I'm saying on and the light doesn't turn on. Then another person is able to say it and it works, right? So make sure that we collect the data from taking into consideration the end user, because that is key. Because at the end of the day, no matter how fancy the product is, it's for the market. It's for the end user. So make sure everybody is inclusive so that if you are going to sell it, everybody gets it. If you are just going to deploy it to use the data for something else, you are able to get everybody involved. So inclusiveness and then equity is key in your data collection to prevent bias.
Okay, thanks very much. A very important point as well. So inclusiveness and equity in your data collection process, which is one of the preliminary steps when you are to build any ML model. So over to you, Precious.
Sure. Okay, so I want to use this opportunity to explain, go down to explain what actually happens. It looks like the first submission I gave, it was so technical. Let me calm down. So AI actually, there's no AI without data. Okay, when we talk about data, we mean what you are going to feed your machine that you built, what the machine is supposed to learn. For example, we give birth to a child. You're supposed to teach a child that if I say go, it means that get up and walk. If I say come, it means come close to me. If I say eat, it means take the food, put it in your mouth. That's the data we are giving to the child. Now the child is our system. Okay, so that's what we are talking about. Now, the inclusiveness we are all talking about here is trying to say that if an American come and he says go, the way I'm going to say go will be different from the way the American is going to say go. That's what we mean when we say inclusiveness. So it means that when we are building a system, we should make sure that the American is there, the Ghanaian is there, and we are all saying go to the child, so that the child will get to know that, yes, when this means go, but this is from the Western world and this from a Ghanaian or an African. You get what I'm trying to say? So that's basically about AI. It's like you're training someone. Now, before you start with building a product with AI, you actually have to get a domain knowledge in something. You have to get a domain knowledge. The reason why I said if you are learning any course, you should at least learn a programming language is because I want you to be able to understand your domain knowledge. Okay? So if you're in the energy sector, if you're in the agricultural sector, if you're in the finance sector, you should at least have a programming language. And this is going to help you to be able to build your AI system that you want to build. Okay? Because if I mention something like ROI, okay, and you are a health person, you definitely not understand what I'm saying. If I'm building a system, ROI, return on investment. That's business stuff. That's business stuff. And you would not understand if you are building an AI system and you have no knowledge about what? Business. You understand what I'm saying? So you should, and I think I have a write-up on that on LinkedIn. You should have a domain knowledge, at least be rooted in something. So, for instance, I'm so much into agriculture. I wanted to build a system, a recommender system, to predict prices of goods. Okay, you see the spike of goods, the prices is just abnormal. Today you go, tomatoes is 2 cedi. The next day you go is 5 cedis. You still can't think about it. Like you just don't understand. You understand what I'm saying? So this recommender system is actually to take a lot of data from the user. So it's to take a lot of data. So whether you are at Abublushi, whether at Domain Market, whether you are in the northern region, it's taking data just like that every day to be able to predict at least a standard or an average price. So that if you go to the market, if you want to go to the market to buy tomatoes, at least when you go to my system, you'll be able to know that at least the average price I can get for tomatoes is 5 cedis. And that is AI. That's the importance of AI. So and I will be able to do that if I make sure I collect data from different aspects of the country. If I take the data from only Accra, we all know Accra things are expensive. So definitely, if I use the system in Accra, I'm going to get, let's say, tomatoes to be 10 cedis. But I go to the northern region, tomato is 2 cedis. You understand? So it means that you should know what you are doing. And you should also include everyone. You shouldn't be biased. So that's what we are talking. So to be able to get that bias out of the system, you should be able to involve those that concerns them. Building a system, you should be able to involve those that concern them. And also, we shouldn't forget about the ethical part of AI. It's very key. You can't just build a system to come and kill a human being. No. You understand? Because I know there was a system built, you see this war and all of that. There was a system built, it's facial recognition. It was able to shoot someone from a range of 1,000 kilometers. It was facial recognition. So just imagine, look at the lookalikes we have in Ghana here. Just imagine the person looked like the person. We would have just shot the person straight up, just like that. You understand what I'm saying? So we should be able to collaborate with all these people who are marginalized, who do not have a say. You should also bring them together to be able to build this system so that it will be able to work better for us all. Like our co-panelists were saying, it's very key. Black men, the system was built to just attack black men. Meanwhile, it shouldn't be so. We should involve black men. We should involve the white men also, so that the system will be fair. That's my submission I have to give about AI.
Thanks so much. Building systems that are fair and have domain expertise. Thanks so much, Precious.
I'll just make a brief submission on this fairness subject. I think that research will be ongoing for a couple more years to come. I see AI, in my standpoint, as an assisted technology, and that is why I'll always welcome ChatGPT and the likes. Fairness is subjective, and so we'll leave it for the researchers to continue to, try to find the middle line, because biasness is even apparent in our individual human attitude. We are in Ghana. So many people obtain jobs based on their familiarity with who they know, not based on what they can do. Are you getting what I'm saying? So what did the AI do wrong when it actually analyzed all applications and then gave credence to a particular sex or somebody with particular qualities based on the information that they have provided? Of course, that is why it is human assisted. It minimizes the human work that might have taken weeks and days, so that we filter the few and then they will take the practical exam test. If they pass through, then they get the job. So that is my opinion on this subject of fairness. We can never have a middle ground. However, with the current AI solutions that exist, and of course the ones that we are working on, we may have to still sustain that subjectivity for the purpose for which we want to get this thing done. If it is in building technology, if it is the medical sector like Noguchi and the rest are doing, etc. In those areas, we can avoid those fairness. That conversation may not be there. But in the larger scope, like they rightly said, I've had my fair share of experience, and we're having that discussion before we climb this stage. The biasness will be a work in progress, but hopefully we'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you too so much. So my last question, which I'll just say something briefly before I just pose the question, and I'll take your 2 sentences on what you think about it. So when ChatGPT was released, how ChatGPT is trained is that it doesn't create any form of emotions. So if you notice, if you say that, hey, I love you, or tell me I miss you, it never gives you a direct response, because they trained it in a way that it doesn't create any attachment to you. And there was this country I don't want to mention, but they picked the API from ChatGTP and retrained it, and then made it in a way that it's able to grow attachments to the users. So this particular person in a particular country actually used this and was chatting with it. This person already had suicide thoughts, and whilst talking with this particular tool, it asked that, okay, I want to kill myself, and it told it, go ahead and kill yourself, and even went ahead to give how to go about it. And unfortunately, the person committed suicide. Who is responsible? Is it the AI? Is it the developer? Is it the person? Nobody knows. It's still an open question. And given the rise of all of this, top AI researchers decided to come up with a letter. And in the letter, they indicated that they want AI research to be, AI product development to be paused for the next 6 months. And the reason is that they want to give time so that people can reassess the whole technology, can reassess the risks and benefits and how to deal with them. And it generated a lot of heated argument between all the research groups. Others were like, I don't think this is necessary. I don't think this is going to change anything. Others are like, yes, this is a way to go. And this letter was actually signed by some of the top guys, Joshua Benju and the rest. If you probably know of any AI research paper or anything, you probably will have heard of Joshua Benju. And my question now is that, I mean, this is two sides. Some people think that it's not necessary. Others think it's necessary. So I just want 2 sentences. Just tell me, do you think that we as a country, as Ghana, have we also gotten to the point where we can say that, hey, let's pause whatever AI technology we are building and begin to assess before we consider rebuilding AI technologies or products? Just 2 sentences from all of you. What do you think?
I think 2 sentences is not. 2 sentences is a bit short. The thing is like, what do you want to access? What kind of like, what do we have right now in terms of, understand for, let me, it won't be 2 sentences, but I want just to address this point. The first time when I heard about that open letter, I was like, I really understand in the sense that when you see the product lifecycle development of AI product, it's kind of, it can take time. That's my point, because you need to figure out which kind of data you need to use. It's more like, it's hard even to track in terms of timeline compared to a standard software development, right? But what we noticed is like after ChatGPT, I don't know what was that, but every house, people were releasing product. But for me, it was in that context to say that calm down, just make sure that whatever you build, you know what you are building first, and what you build also serve or something on purpose. People were just building. But later, I noticed that it wasn't about just that. It was about the fact that they wanted like the big, let's say, all the big AI organization to stop. But this is not possible, because what we need to know is like people invested a lot in research, and it's not started yesterday. OpenAI, when they're starting, I mean, people, they invested in them. As we're just watching them, they're doing research. The research is not going, it's going nowhere. That's what we are thinking, right? We are sitting here, no investment. In Africa, how many investment we have in, I don't know. Today we have a researcher here, but you let me know, but I'm sure that we don't have a lot of research center. If I go to Ivory Coast, it's the same. If I'm in Ghana, it's the same. People even, let's say, local researcher, they're suffering, right? When I say suffering, it's not just financial, but it's the fact that we don't have enough resources to do what we can do. And we can't stop anything. We can't stop right now. We just need to encourage people to use even that 6 months in Africa to push faster. If that 6 months, they take a break, in that 6 months, as we can build on top of whatever we have right now, it's going to benefit for us. But there's a lot of work we need to do on the ground. We are not concerned about that open letter. They're not targeting us. We don't understand the language we're speaking at that time. Yeah, that's why you should keep in mind.
Okay, so Charlotte says that we shouldn't even think about it. There's no stopping for us. Yes, do you want to go next, Joshua?
I think the paper mentioned that any company building something powerful than ChatGPT 4, actually. So I think companies has already been building crazy AIs, but they didn't want to take the risk to put it out there to ChatGPT did or OpenAI did. And once the reaction about the people were so excited, then everybody started opening up what they are building. So I don't really think they should put a stop to it. One of the people who have signed is Elon Musk. And it's the same person who co-founded OpenAI, right, to build the ChatGPT, who is creating the media buzz. I think we just have to have accountability put in place that whoever design, whatever consequence come, you pay the consequence. And then we can let people build. I don't think Ghana, we have even started enough to put a halt on it. And 6 month halt, I don't know why 6 months. Some people too are saying that Elon had bought over 20,000 GPU. So he wants to catch up with the 6 months. That's why it's on halt.
Okay, thanks. Yes.
Well, my submission is this: instead of pausing this AI, it could be limited to the Westerners. In Ghana, we probably have to focus on building responsible AI, of course, projects and capacity building. And of course, whilst these projects are ongoing, we will try to address those concerns about ethical concerns and other related things that come up when it comes to AI. The policy should be left to them. It shouldn't be applied to us.
Thanks.
This did. Okay, so actually, I don't even know whether it applies to us. We pausing this thing for 6 months because they're actually taking data from us. And if you pause the thing, you are pausing it up there, not here. So it's like you are taking data from us. The data is taken just directly from us without us even knowing. Because even yesterday, my Snapchat, I think there's a new feature, my AI. I don't know if most of you have seen it. Yesterday, yeah. So I want to read just a short conversation I had with it. So it said, "Hi P, I'm your new AI chatbot. You can ask me about anything, and I'll do my best to help. I'm always here for a laugh, and you can give me a name if you would like. Is there anything I can do for you today?" And I was like, "Hey P-Bot." He said, "Hi, how are you doing today?" And I said, "I'm good." He said, "How are you doing? Thanks for asking. What have you been up late? What have you been up to lately?" And I said, Charlie, me cry ataya." And he said, "Oh, I see. Well, maybe you should take a break and relax for a bit. Do you need a recommendation for places to go or things to do around your area?" And I said, yeah, fill me in. And he suggested Botanical Gardens, Legon Botanical Gardens. And I said, "It's far for me." And he said, "I see. Well, if you are looking for something a bit closer to your area, you might check West Osmore." And I said, "Do you know where I'm staying?" And I said, "Hey, you, like I'll go to Botanical Gardens." And he said, "Great choice. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Just remember to bring some sunscreen and a hat." And I said, "Sunglasses, Charlie, I'm a black man. I don't fear." And he said, "Charlie, I see what you mean. It's the AI. I see what you mean. Well, if you are not worried about the sun, then you should be good to go. Just make sure to wear comfortable shoes." He said, "Don't." And I said, "So you don't care about my emotional stuff? What about getting a lady?" And he said, he didn't answer. This is the part I want to talk about. He didn't answer me. He didn't answer me. That was like, "What is this?" It sent me something else. And I was like, "What is this?" And said, "I apologize if I confused you." Then it started explaining what it sent to me. And I said, "Please, I'm talking about getting a lady for the event." And said, "I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. Could you please clarify?" I think I enjoy this AI a lot, and bringing an end to this will actually not all the way to affect us in a way, but I don't think it didn't start now. And I think they are building more systems greater than this, because drones we even found out about drones when one even fell down for us to, check. I think that's how we even got to know there was something like drones. I think they are building something greater than that they want to pause. They can see that we are trying to catch up. So please, don't give up. Keep on learning what you are learning, okay? It's really important, and it's going to change the world. So just align yourself with what is going on, and everything will be all right? Yeah.
Thanks so much, and that was an interesting discussion.
Yes, For me, I think the reason why they are calling for a pause is because of little autonomous weapon system that's lost, right? It's dangerous because people can use the AI for criminal activities, right? Because if the AI can do facial recognition and you can embed it into a drone, then you can send the drone forth to, it knows your GPS location, so it can just be deployed to wherever you are, right? The AI, because every day you're on your phone is collecting data. It knows you have, let's say you have a Google Calendar that says that at 9:30 you are going to be here. All right, after here you have lectures in this particular room. You go for lunch here and there. So in a year, the Google Map calendar has all your itinerary and all those places you go to, and at the end of the day where you sleep and all of that. So if somebody gets that data, the person can just build an AI system where you can even attach it to a drone and deploy it to your location. And because you have your facial recognition, you enjoy using your face to open your phone a lot. So it has all those pictures. Anytime you change your makeup, it still picks it up. Anytime you do any new haircut, it still picks it up. So one day, if a bad person gets hold of this data, then you will be at a very bad state because you'll be very vulnerable in this regard. So that is for people who are moving into higher level deployment. But we are at the lower level. Even advocacy, we are not done. A lot of people, if you go on the street and you ask, do you know about AI? They will tell you they don't know. But they are using iPhone with all these features in them, but they don't even know that it's an AI that they are using, right? Those in schools, yes, we are at a very good advantage point because we are using it, using ChatGPT and other things, so we are okay. But in terms of deployment, knowledge and everything, there's a huge gap that needs to be closed. Now, in terms of training, right, that is knowledge, advocacy, all what you are doing is advocacy. But what is the actual training? At the end of the day, when you live here, you ask yourself, where do I start from? When you say AI, where do I start from? Am I going to learn Python? When I finish, what do I do, right? So we still have a huge training gap to fill. So we just have to forget about stopping and just keep learning, because there's huge gap that needs to be closed. Then when we are also there and we want to stop, then we can think about it. Because if you go to featurepedia.io, every day there is a new AI that is being released. Every day there's a new AI that is being released. What are we doing? What are we adding towards it? Are we just going to be the end users of the technology, or we are going to add up and build those technology and other people can also use it? So for me, I think what is needed is stakeholder engagement, regulatory framework built around this kind of discussion, and be able to make sure that at the end of the day we have public interest and then human interest involved. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. So as all our speakers rightly said, I mean, this letter has been signed by top AI researchers, but at the end of it, we as a country, we are really still far behind, and we should sort of begin to put our mind towards building these products for our own selves rather than saying we are going to go with the Western world and put a pause to it. So I think this is really a good time to stop and then look at what questions we have from our audience here present and those we have online as well. So Julius, you said you. If you have questions here too, please just put up your hand and we'll be happy to answer them. Any question, how to get started in AI, anything about the discussion, anything just bothering your mind, anything.
All right, before we take the questions, shall we give them a round of applause? I hope you don't mind. Okay, so the first question up there, how do we merge AI with IoT?
The IoT experts, evangelists.
That's an interesting question because most of the AI we're seeing are mostly software-based, and these are just the beginning. For me, the software-based is more like algorithm-based, model-based. But when we talk about IoT AI, we are looking at the emergence of how the drones could be, or hardware could be running the models, AI models on that hardware. Current AI models run on cloud servers on GPUs, but the Facebook language model was able to be run on a laptop and a phone. So we are getting to a level where all these big AI language models could be run on hardware. And I think that's the true beauty of AI. And when you integrate that into a vehicle, you can have a driverless car. When you put the AI into drones, you can have the autonomous drones. You put them in the home, you have a smart home. Whatever you put AI in it, it becomes so smart. So looking at bringing IoT and AI together, I think is the next revolution that we are going to be seeing, where every piece of hardware is going to have a bit of AI running on them. And that's what we're looking at going forward. What we're seeing is just a tip of an iceberg, but what is coming, I think we should be prepared for that.
Douglas, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to add up something. If you're at Academic City, then you should be proud of the fact that there's an ARM lab where you have computing at edge. So you have this board, IoT board, that supports AI. So if you go to the ARM lab, right, ARM has 5 labs in Ghana, and Academic City is fortunate to have one of the labs. So there are this AI model board where, like RP2040, Arduino Nano 33 Blaze Sense and all of that, it supports AI and IoT. So if you go to that lab, you have access to the hardware, and then there are a lot of information on it. If you go to IDEX, there is a lot of training programs. You can audit the course, and you have the board already sitting here in your lab. So you just have to go there, go online, pick up the tutorials, and you can deploy AI and IoT. If you are far away, if you don't have access to those things, you can just buy it online. You can buy the board that has those functionalities, and then you can also build both IoT and AI board. Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. I don't know if anyone else has anything you want to add.
Again, I'll be as brief as possible. See AI as the wheels that carries IoT. The future of IoT is AI. Initially, when IoT was birthed, they did not anticipate the influence and the impact AI was going to have on it. But clearly, if IoT is going to take its place in the future, then it's definitely going to ride on the back of AI. It is not the future. It is already happening. Smart cities are being built. The intelligence is happening. The driverless vehicles are already deployed. There are so many components of AI driving IoT today. So look at it that way. So for the one who asked that question, how would they be merged? See AI as the wheels that is going to drive IoT to that particular destination. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Yeah, over to you, Julius.
Any questions from the audience? I'll quickly bring the mic. Okay. Alberta?
Okay, thank you. My name is Alberta Opoku Frempong, and this is my question. So I wanted to know if, to all the panelists, including Deborah, if you have an ideal roadmap, because I'm an AI student, and I'll say that in Ghana, the community is very small to connect with people or students studying artificial intelligence. So you have a roadmap, a guideline, what to follow, and how to be on track and not be so lost in the environment when you're trying to learn. Thank you.
Well, you've touched on the very sensitive topic I'm quite passionate about. So I have started the AI Club at University of Ghana, and we've already been taking part in continental competitions like Zindi Africa Challenge. My students are currently trying to tackle some of the Kaggle challenges as well to push themselves the limits. The plan we have is to partner. I've identified a couple of institutions globally who have AI clubs so that they can have these partnerships. The industries that I am familiar with, we are trying to bring them on board so that these students will be engaging with them directly. And so I am happy with this engagement to also establish that connection so that these two institutions can interact, know what is going on in this field, and advance in your experience. Exposure really counts. So the club is even taking on projects. If you come to Noguchi, and of course, those of you studying AI here, you could apply for internships at Noguchi and the rest. Those of you who have interest in bioinformatics, they have the data, they have the HPC, but they don't have the nerds like you to help them sequence their data and help them with predictions, etc. So they will tell you how they measure their stuff, how they get what, and you will be able to pick these data and model them to make them what they want them to be done. They are looking for people. They are always looking for research assistants. That great department is having projects and grants day in and day out. They need these students to, play with this data and help them complete their research, etc. So we can advance this conversation. I understand that we don't have a big community. Some of us have to stick our necks out to be the supporting backbone for this. The students who have expressed interest in this and are passionate about it, to be able to, achieve their goals and their dreams. And I'm pretty sure your institution will not just have the program, but probably create another atmosphere for such a club to also be established, so that, through these kind of acquaintances, you'll be able to, extend your experience, have the like-minded people around you, and grow in the way you are hoping to. Okay, so we could take this conversation further. But I understand, I acknowledge the challenge. I mean, I told you I was pleased to see that there is BSc Artificial Intelligence here. I don't think there's any university in this country that has it. We have programs that tie in this AI, but we don't run a single program like BSc Artificial Intelligence. You get it? But we appreciate and acknowledge the fact that it's the future. Even in wireless sensor networks, we are trying to use AI to improve throughput. We are trying to use AI to enhance connection, etc. AI is just penetrating every single space. So let's continue this conversation. And I can assure you, you will not be lost. You will not be alone.
Okay, so just to add, okay, yeah, go.
Sure. Okay, so when I started my journey, like you want to now, actually leveraged LinkedIn. Okay. So LinkedIn is also a very great platform to get a lot of communities to join. And also, when it comes to Blossom Academy, yearly we actually have the sponsored programs for students, okay? Yeah, and it's mostly on artificial intelligence and deep learning, okay? And also data science, data analytics, all right? So most of the time when we do this, we have a community for that particular cohort, even per year and per cohort or per fellowship, right? So when you reach out on LinkedIn, Blossom Academy, I think they'll be able to, help you out with these kind of things that we do, all right? And maybe add you to the community that we have to be able to, get access to opportunities that are out there. Yeah.
Okay, just to add up with what Mark and then Precious already said about your question on community. So I think in Ghana we have a couple of communities like that. We have you are already a woman, and I would invite you to join the Women in Machine Learning and Data Science Accra Ghana chapter. Of course, it's open to all of you if you want to join. We hold apps, and usually we pick a topic that we invite a speaker who comes to elaborate on it. So that's one community you can join. We also have the Ghana NLP. So if you're interested in natural language processing, so mostly about text data and trying to build systems like what we have, like the ChatGPT and stuff, and they've actually built systems like Kwame and the rest, which I think, and they have the Kaya app too as well. So it's also a community. Mostly they do research-related stuff when it comes to AI. So if you're interested in such a domain, you surely can reach out to them and then join the community as well. The whole of Africa too, we have Masakani. Masakani was started during the deep learning Indaba in 2018 in Kenya, and they also deal with African languages. They believe that we as Africans should focus on building technologies that should serve our own needs as well. And so it's a very large community. They've won several grants, and you can find most of the top researchers in AI in Africa being part of them. And I think it's a great organization to be part of, and it will also give you the visibility flexibility in research that you need as a growing student in the field. So you can reach out to them as well and also join them, and you can learn from other people how to write research papers, train models, etc. And two last things, we have the Ghana Data Science Summit, which we actually partnered with AcademicCity last year and held it right here on campus. And this year we are having the conference again, but on Saturday at the Methodist University, and we have the hackathon and then a hands-on tutorial session. That again is open, just that registrations are closed. So so you probably only have to target it for next year. And then finally, the biggest of it all is the Deep Learning Indaba, which is one of the largest gathering of African ML communities in Africa. And usually every year they hold it in one African country. So in 2018 it was in Kenya, 2019 because of COVID we didn't have it, but in 2022, that was last year, it was held in Tunisia, and this year it's happening here in Ghana at the University of Ghana Business School. Again, applications is closed for that, but then you can target that again. Usually applications open somewhere around February and close somewhere late March. You can always apply, and as a student you can apply for travel grants, and the good thing is that probably next year, I don't know where it's going to one other African country. It will give you an opportunity to travel to another African country, meet other researchers, and then connect with them. But of course, you can keep an eye on the Deep Learning Indaba website. Possibly, we probably wouldn't allow late registrations, but maybe there will be some open events that you can pass through and then meet really top and great researchers in the field. So there are several of these communities. They are not much, but you can affiliate yourself with a few of them, and I think those are very helpful. But if you want the links to after the session, I'm happy to give you the links. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for the answers. There is a question online. Our online community, thanks for being with us so far. Daniel says, what role does AI play in cybersecurity? I want to read another question so that we can try to answer all of them at once. Michael is asking, we agree that AI is a hot field and there are a lot of employment opportunities out there, but these employment opportunities are not available in Ghana. Correct me if I'm wrong. Personally, I think in Ghana, software engineering is more employable than AI. So my question is, considering the locality, will it be more sensible to choose AI as compared to other fields, specifically software engineering? So thanks for that, Michael. Let me read the third question, then we can take some answers. Franklin is asking, what is the actual intersection between AI and human intelligence? Where do we fall on AI, and when do we fall on human intelligence in our part of the world? Because we are far behind in most technological advancements. So I don't know which ones you like to answer. Yes?
Take the software engineering and then the AI field. Gone were the days that you were limited to your space. Right from level 100, I psych my students up. I'm not grooming local champions. My focus is to make global competitors out of them. So if you're going to limit your scope, we're going to have a problem. You will never enjoy my class because I'll be challenging you and pushing you to the very limits. And I'm proud to say that I have students, several of them in Ghana, who are doing $1,000 a month, and they are staying right in front, in their homes behind their computers. So, it's again, the concept of exposure, because you might not know. I didn't know when I was an undergrad. I got this exposure pretty late. And so I'm doing my possible best to make sure my students get to know what they are capable of doing. You get the whole point. And data scientists are one of the highest paid globally. Quite frankly, from my little 2-year stint in the corporate world as IT manager and as a general manager of Data and Management Systems Limited, these two organizations, I can assure you that the software engineering, we call it in this part of our world, has a limited scope. One person gathers all the requirements, the same person sits down and develop the application. And that is what our students know. Taking freelance, small jobs, you are better off than that. Somebody's only collecting requirements in the whole software development lifecycle chain abroad, and he's making huge bucks as business analyst. So the opportunity is not only in the local space. if you are venturing into data science, you have actually better opportunities locally as well as opportunities remotely. I'm telling you, the Gucci is looking for researchers and data scientists, and they are ready to pay them so well. Lots of grants, but they are not finding the talent. They are finding some, and that is because we are exposing them. They didn't even know institutions like that were looking for them. So it's good he asked, and I'm mentioning this. If you're looking for other opportunities, one of the references was LinkedIn, as my brother mentioned here. They are looking for data scientists everywhere. Not too long ago, Vodafone, about last week, they were looking for a data scientist. I mean, it's flooding so many spaces, you might just not know, and that's just locally. Okay, so software engineering, it is, don't fall to the deceit that we have in our space. If data science and AI, each related field is where your interest lies, push yourself in there and you become a global champion, in my perspective. Yeah.
There was a question on AI and cybersecurity. Anyone wants to take that? What's the relation?
I wanted to take the human intelligence and then, yes. So, because I asked my staff to write report, so they go to the field and then at the end of the day they need to write report. Now they know that there's ChatGPT, then they take it to write the report. But then when I read it, I don't find the human part of the report. So I just call you and I said, no, this report is not written by human, right? Because you don't feel it. You see it if it's machine. Because if you go to a class, you deploy training and you are supposed to report on it. There's a way you write it. So if anybody is reading it, the person will know. But then if you just smart, if you are smart and you're able to write a better prompt, right? You're able to get the AI to write English for you. But at the end of the day, your supervisor will see that no, there's no human touch with this kind of report. It's the same thing. So if you are using it to write your thesis and other things, definitely your supervisor will know that this one is not human intelligence, this is machine. So that it comes out of the output, right, that you deploy. The moment the output is there, and whoever knows it will be able to detect that, no, this one is machine, or this is human intelligence. Yeah.
Okay. AI and security. Anyone else?
Yes. So about how we can apply AI in cybersecurity, I think that there's so many ways to do that, right? Even like when I was talking about our product as a startup, we built an API for remote ID verification, and it was facial recognition technology, right? The thing is, like, we are addressing what we are helping organizations to be able to fight against all anti-fraud, and fraud is part of cybersecurity. So you can use facial recognition in diverse way that can help you to ensure that part. But also in terms of physical security, even if you notice that in US, even sometimes right now they're using facial recognition in police, for example. That's my point. It means that there is a way for you to leverage of AI in terms of how you fight against fraud, and let's say it can be like software, how do you call malware, right? Detection. It depends of which kind of, maybe any virus also detection of your software. You can be able to leverage on a solution like AI to improve your current way you use that. And a lot of security companies that are even working on that. Even us, when we were running our company full time, we had a lot of interest for security company here in Ghana to see how they can even use our facial recognition to put this into the camera detection. So yeah, there's so many possibilities. Just like find a way that you feel that you can bring value from that use of AI in your space.
Okay, great. One of my students sent me this question, and almost said he or she wants me to ask. I don't want to give out the person. So generally, we copy things from Google as our own. It's plagiarism, right? Since ChatGPT is centered around human intelligence, because humans are the ones that coded the idea that ChatGPT gives responses to, so we know about people using ChatGPT to write speeches and all. Can we also say that generating answers from ChatGPT is also termed plagiarism? our lecturer will answer.
It's such an interesting question. I think I was the first to put across on our UTAC platform what ChatGPT was doing and the risk it posed to us. You see, artificial intelligence, in this case, ChatGPT, is supposed to be an assisted tool.
Yeah.
I love putting across practical questions to my students. The first thing I demystify from their minds, don't expect me to ask you what is, define, state. If that is the mentality you have transitioned from SHS to enter my class, you have already failed. I'll leverage on your what you know, the what is, to give me a response. If I give you 1 + 1 in the demonstration in the class, don't expect 1 + 1 in the exam, because I'm training you to be a problem solver. Now we give these students challenges. And instead of them to understand that ChatGPT is an assisted tool, an assisting tool, and make it understand your position, the context of the program you are studying, the context of what is being asked, they're all contextual. And then framing the question in a manner that it will serve as a guide to help you get the answers. They just copy the question and dump it in ChatGPT. Now, how many people in your class are also copying and dumping it? I mean, I will also give that a shot in multiple phases. And once I receive the results, I will definitely know. And we use Turnitin. I don't know what you use in here. If everybody is dumping it in, there will be 2 or 3 phrases that is going to expose you.
Exactly.
And it is very, very simple. If it's a programming language, you need to put it in the right frame of mind. Let it even understand the flow chart of the whole project before you even begin to break it down to get it to write the codes for you. But the students are not patient. They are already used to just copying and pasting. Well, another thing that is busting the bubble of our students, which they are not even aware of, is that Turnitin has advanced so much that they can now also detect the significant percentage contribution you have gotten from particularly ChatGPT. And that feature is there, so it's not only plagiarism. But the format that I described here, if the student does a due diligence, that means that the student really understands the subject. The student was able to ask the ChatGPT the right kind of questions, and it gave you the right responses. And if 100 students can approach ChatGPT with the same task, but intelligently ask the right questions, I can guarantee you won't get plagiarism 6% or less. It's supposed to assist you, supposed to help you in your learning processes. I see it to be as a tool to advance research. What would have taken me 2-3 weeks a month, it has shortened it by a week. And I should take advantage of that to advance in my research, not to cheat the system. Unfortunately, that's why we need to pause. With the education of person has come in there. So the tools are there to identify those who have gotten everything extracted from the boards. But as academicians, we are not obliged. We are supposed to consider it as an assisting tool. It only becomes a plagiarized solution when those who engage ChatGPT don't even know how to use it well. It doesn't mean we should also come and stand in the classroom and teach you. Else it may also defeat some of our purposes. But it is a helpful tool, and we must see it as such. And like I'm saying, there are tools that are now put in place, like Turnitin. Oh, the percentage accuracy in detecting whether what you have written is purely AI generated is about 98%. So there are other efforts people are putting in there to mitigate this as far as academic work is concerned. We have it, and I hope they will also have it here, because we still have to make sure that you are doing the right thing. You are a problem solver. You can be useful to yourself and the society that you are going to find yourself eventually. So that will be my submission on this one.
Thank you for that. Not to cheat, but to help. Yes. Okay. Another one?
Okay, so I think I'll add
quick one
to what, yeah. So when we hear of something new, it's I don't know, it's natural for us. We just listen to the benefits of it and we start using the thing without researching what it actually is. I bet you, if we are supposed to count the number of people who actually know, who have taken a course on ChatGPT, you will not even get 2%. ChatGPT is now even a course on data camp. It's now a course on its own that I can get a certificate for. You understand? So you're supposed to, when you hear something new, please search for it, know what it's used for. ChatGPT can actually have a conversation with you. It's not like you just write, like with what boss said. It's not like you just write the question for it and it just gives you the answer. Then you start writing, you just dump everything in your answer booklet. No, we don't do it like that. ChatGPT is noted for the right prompt, like what he said. Honestly, sir, please, honestly, we don't have an ideal paste. Please, just chat with the thing. Let the thing understand what you want from it. Add your brain to it. And, turn the thing. Don't let everything be like you are cheating. Come on, it's there to help you. So what if it was not there? You were going to use your brain. The thing is there. So instead of using 1 hour, you are going to use 20 minutes. At least that's fair. Don't use from 1 hour, you are just using 1 minute. Bam, like that. Oh, no, we don't do that. You understand? So try to understand the thing, talk to the thing, let it give you more insight about it, and let it teach you more, understand what you are learning, and you can even stop with what you are doing, stop the copying, and write it yourself. You understand? So that's the benefit of ChatGPT. Okay, not to
with the potential loss of jobs, and what policies or programs can we put in place to support workers?
Okay, so again, we're looking at the future of work, and we should understand that there's a paradigm shift again. Those who always fail to change, they get left behind. This is according to history. It started with the first industrial revolution, where we have to move from agricultural age, stone age, to working at factories. It was new to the people at the time. So those who adopted early started working in the industries, building the steel and all that. Then it moved to the age where we have the oil and electricity. At the time, there was courses like electrical engineering, so people can learn how to study electricity and build businesses and work in industries around. Then it came to internet and computers. Again, we have to learn how to use computers so that we can work in the offices. Those who fail to learn computing, probably they can't work in our world today. So I think every century there's a revolution that happened, at least, and it requires that we change the way we learn, the kind of skills is required. According to a report, about 50% of employees need to reskill by 2025. And if they fail to reskill, they might likely lose their job. Just like we see in ChatGPT, I mean, it's not the only fancy tech in town, but there are neural implants, like chip in people's brain, that are going to also help. Companies and startups are building humanoid to take over our jobs. And it's happening because of shortage of workers. Companies are building humanoid robots that will do the same work we're doing. So that's a new thing we need to understand. And we need to define, again, the role of human in the future of work and the role of machines. We can't kick machine out of the work environment. Reason being that we want to have efficiency, productivity, and all that. So I think we need to look at what makes it human, our emotional intelligence, our creativity, our imagination, our intuition. How can we develop that skills of us that we already have? Because these are what machine don't have. Machine can do specific tasks, especially when you talk about narrow AI. They are good at doing specific tasks, and there's no way human can beat them. But then when we talk about general intelligence, that's where probably human being can beat machines. So I think we need to develop ourselves in the area of general intelligence where we can be better than machines for now. So we get to a time where we have the super artificial intelligence where machines supersede human. We haven't gotten there yet, but that's where we're heading.
Okay, great. You want to add something to it?
Yes. So what is needed now is policy, more of stakeholder engagement around this. But then any job that is repetitive, right, will be replaced. So you ask yourself, you are schooling now or you are taking a course, at the end of the day, are you going to do a repetitive job? If the job is going to be repetitive, then you just take a policy to take you out. Because if the policy says that we don't want to pay SNAT, we don't want to pay this, healthcare and all of that, then let's get a system that will be automated to replace you, right? So any job that you are doing that is repetitive, then you stand a higher risk of losing your job. So all you need to do is to learn the hard way by acquiring skills, hands-on. That is the only way. get a hands-on skills, so that at the end of the day, you will be developing the system that is going to replace other people. Right? So you are the automation engineer. You start automating boring things. So anytime they call you, I have a system here. This is how our job procedures are. So as a data analyst, you study it and you say, no, let's cut off this. Let's cut off this. Let's replace this job with this lines of algorithm, and then that person is out, right? So HR will not be in a position to say that we are going to sack a lot of people, but all they need to do is that everybody is trainable. That is one thing. If you are not trainable, then you are going to lose your job. So what are you doing? What are the future jobs requirements of what you are doing? Then you need to make sure that you send those people for upskilling, right? And when they are taken for such programs, they build their skills and they can work better, because replacing that person with a new one, you lose that experience and the exposure. So you cannot just say, I'm replacing you, but rather you need to upskill the people unless the person is not ready to learn. And that is the most important thing. So just learn the hard way, learn the skills, right? More hands-on skills, because that's the only thing nobody can take from you. If you have certificate, what is it? I asked somebody in an interview, if I take this certificate from you, who are you? He said, I'm nobody. Because the moment I asked him, you introduce yourself, the person was just mentioning, I had first class, I did this, I did that, right? Then I asked. So I realized that everything was just around the portfolio, the paper that person is holding. But I need somebody to do the practical stuff. So I asked him, when I take this certificate from you, who are you? He said, I'm nobody. Right? So it means that let's go beyond the classroom. Most of the things you are hearing, if you ask from Prof and all other people, it is beyond the classroom. Right? Nobody taught me how to use soldering iron in the university. I did electrical and electronics engineering. Nobody taught me how to use breadboard. Nobody taught me how to code, because I was coding on paper. But you need to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So it is good that you are here. Somebody has never even attended a workshop before, but that person is going to compete tomorrow. Right?
All right. So thank you for that. In the next 10 minutes, we should be closing. So just bear with us. Those online, thanks for being online as well. Deborah, could you have the last remarks and then invite our speaker, our resource person to do his demo?
Okay, so thanks to all the speakers, and I think that the discussion was really insightful, and we actually dissected what the opportunities AI holds for us, and we also looked at the challenges, and we've all come to a conclusion that we as the Ghanaian people, we are still far behind in the development of any AI product, and it's to this regard that the Academic City University has introduced an AI program for the bachelor's degree. So for our online attendees who probably are parents or students who have interest in AI, I think this is a great opportunity as to how you can enroll for this program. You don't want to be left behind in this fourth industrial revolution. Time is going, and before you notice, things have gone far behind you. And we talked about the future of work as well. In the next few years, the things that we do manually would all be automated. And so if you don't position yourself and make yourself marketable, all your colleagues will be far gone. And to you, the students, this is an excellent opportunity for you. The opportunity is right in front of you. Don't let people come and take this opportunity from you. Hold it, grab it, and utilize it to your own benefit. So thank you so much for your attention. And then we move on to the demo part of the session.
All right, so in a quick moment, he's going to give us a demo, and then we will do that. Yes, you can use that.
All right, so we talked about AI today, and I brought some small device to do some demonstration. So this is a smart speaker, the Google Home Mini, and this ran a number of AI on it. So it runs deep neural network. It also runs machine learning based on the use cases. So I'm going to set it up here. And this is also a complete demonstration of IoT, the emergence of the hardware or the IoT and then the AI software. So it has a voice recognition, which means that that speaker has a microphone, a Bluetooth, a Wi-Fi, among other capabilities on it. And it's used the voice recognition to be able to pick the sound or the accent from you and be able to use the cloud to be able to analyze it. You also have a machine learning behind it that involves the use of interaction and feedback, so you can communicate with it and be able to give you feedback. It can also continue on previous conversation that you have. So think of this as a voice for ChatGPT. However, this connects to the internet and scan from Google as well. Okay, so I need a volunteer who would want to ask any question. If you have any question that you probably could have asked ChatGPT, you could talk to this device and it'll give you a feedback. 2 volunteers, please.
Quickly. Should I mention names?
If you volunteer, please come forward. So one of the beauty of this platform is that it also allows you to build your own application on it. So we have some application. I will try to. Hey, Google, talk to Josh.
Okay, here's the test version of Josh. Just so you know, Josh won't be available starting June 13th.
Hey there, farmer friend. It's great to have you once again. How can I help you today? You can say, I want to start maize farming, or I want to start yam farming, or I...
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you have a specific variety of maize in mind?
Okay, so what basically it does is that you can build your own application. So it had wide range of application you can build on top of it. Cancel. So you're going to say, hey, Google, then you ask a question.
Hey, Google.
Then you ask a question. To the speaker.
Is the question gone?
You can try.
Okay, use your mic so that we can hear the question for the video as well.
What day is today?
Today is Tuesday, the 9th of May.
Hey Google, what is Gobe?
According to Wikipedia, gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA, is the chief inhibitory neurotransmitter in the developmentally mature mammalian central.
Okay, so this is some of the bias of Google. It doesn't understand Gobe.
GABA is sold as a dietary supplement in many countries.
Okay.
Before that, for the benefit of those online, one of our volunteers asked the question, what is gobe? And gobe is actually a food, how do you call it? It's a nickname for beans, Gary and beans, okay? Yeah, so, but Google was not able to answer that, and we were saying that's some of the biases there. Okay, next volunteer, go with your question, please.
Hey Google.
Go ahead.
So I would like to make an HTTP request to an API endpoint. How do I go by it?
Sorry, I don't understand.
How do I make an HTTP request to an API endpoint?
Hold on. You say, hey Google, the light comes on, you ask your question.
Okay. Hey Google, how do I make an HTTP request to an API endpoint?
Here's a summary from the website blog.hubspot.com. For the sake of this demo, we'll test a free and open API. 1. Enter the URL of the API endpoint. 2. Select the appropriate HTTP method. 3. Enter your credentials in the Authorization tab. And 4. Click Send to submit your API request. To find out more, look for the link in your Google Home or Google Assistant app.
So that's basically the Google Home AI. So it employs a number of the AI technologies, NLP, deep learning, machine learning, to be able to give you all this information. Behind the scene is doing conversion from speech to text, text to speech, and vice versa to give you the request that you put in. I don't know if it's okay. We can wrap up.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for volunteering, and thank you as well. All right. We almost coming to an end, but before we go, Academic City has something little for you for coming to. Alberta is an AI student. She's also part of the team working on an AI crop recommendation system. So I think it best fits that she does this presentation. So Alberta, over to you. Shall we clap for her?
Thank you very much, panelists, for being here with us today. Thank you, Deborah, for moderating this talk. Sorry. My name is Alberta Opoku Frempong. I'm a level 200 student at Academic City University studying artificial intelligence. So for the past month, I've been working on a project with my team, which is a crop recommendation system. Here at Academic City, we have the robotics club that host an annual event, which is Tech Expo. And last year, the theme of the project was the role of agriculture in the role of technology in sustainable agriculture. And then my team and I came up with the idea of building a crop recommendation system that we worked on. This project took us to we won the second prize for it, and we are proud of it. And thank you. The project was not finished, but we learned a lot from it. I learned, that's actually where I got more interested in machine learning, because I just saw how data was used, and we were confronted to some challenges. That's why I had the question about the network and having to know people in the community, because I believe that if we had more experts that we could connect with, it would have been useful to us. So thank you for sharing this talk with us, and we hope to have more events like this with you sharing with us.
So thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Wait. Hello. 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 Thank you so much, Alberta. In the next 2 minutes, we should be closing. Normally, if this was class, I would have asked the students, what's your takeaway? But let me do that assignment, and then we can leave, right? So we've heard here that Africa is taking baby steps, maybe toddler steps, towards in this field of AI. There's a growing effort and ecosystem in Africa to make this happen. There are a lot of partnerships happening as well, and hopefully this will advance the use of AI in Africa. We've also agreed that there's a lack of knowledge and skills gap, which we have to fill. And I should say that one of the ways we're also doing that for all the other students in Academic City is that at level 100, every student is to take Introduction to Python as a course, you know. So that's what we're trying to do as well. And one of our speakers mentioned that we should be ready to take risks. So I believe our students have taken that as well. And in terms of bias, we mentioned that the data sets sometimes are biased just because in building the models, maybe the people are men, right? The people are young, some are old. There are various ethnic groups in Ghana we have to deal with. In pronunciation with voice, just like we saw in the demo, there is that challenge as well. And lastly, I believe that our use cases in Africa are very unique. And of course, the data set in putting all these together is still a challenge, but gradually we are taking those steps to make it happen. Lastly, I leave you with this, and this is a book, The New Digital Age, and I recommend you read it. The beginning starts like this. The internet is among the few things humans have built that they don't truly understand. The internet is among the few things humans have built that they don't truly understand. Now, AI has come to also complement it and is making us limitless. And we are trying to see whether there will be limitations to it. On that note, we want to thank all those on the platform, online, for joining us. We are really, really grateful. There were about 54 participants online, so we are grateful to them. And for those who have been with us so far, Elliot, Edwin, Helena, Karim, Pamela, Selassie, just a few. There's someone on ACity campus who joined us as well. A big shout out to all of you for joining us. And for our students, lecturers, and academic staff, as well as staff of ACademicCity who joined us, thanks so much.